Well, antivirus software no longer works. I don't want the feds busting down my door.
So if you have a computer and you have any kind of antivirus software on your computer that says McAfee, I am sitting with the founder of that antivirus software, John McAfee, and a few other things to tell you about John before we get into it. He's probably got one of the most, I mean, there's so many ways, stories you read about him that's just so interesting when you read about him. Former presidential candidate. I think when you ran on a libertarian/cyber party.
It was a
libertarian party. 1987 founded McAfee, and in 1996 he sells it. Made a lot of money at that time. If social media was around 1994, 1996, you probably have tens of millions of people following you on your views that you have in place. So again, I can say a lot of things about yourself. You say, let's just keep it simple and get into it. John, thank you so much, sir, for taking the time for visiting with us. Truly appreciate it. If we can get right into it, so right now, you saw what happened with last week, 2 weeks ago. Everybody's curious to know what's going on with Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, all of these other things. And I know you yourself, having been on the other side when you're running a software and you're kind of trying to protect us. And in a space like that, when you were running it, McAfee was known as probably number one because it was ran by people who were extremely paranoid, which is what you would want. So when you see that today and you see what's going on with Facebook, what are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking people are foolish if you believe you can go onto the internet, sign on to a social media site, and expect to have privacy. That's ridiculous. How do these companies make money? Seriously, Google makes money by knowing where you are, what you're buying, who you're with, who your contacts are, who you last talked to, where you're eating your dinner. This is how everybody makes money. And to think that you're going to get these free services, seriously, how valuable to you is Google? How often do you Google something to find out anything? Where the next clothing store is, what's on the movies, something to help your children with their homework. Constantly. Invaluable. What does it cost you?
Zero.
Please, nothing is free. Nothing is free. I mean, my parents told me that. I told my children that. What you are paying is your privacy. Please. So to be shocked that Facebook is selling your data or allowing people to have access to it, I'm sorry, that's just foolish. It's utterly foolish. So if you want to use free services and you're paying nothing for them, why then are you upset that they're taking the data that you input and selling it? I mean, to expect privacy in this world where hackers can see anything, the government can see anything, that our telephones, our smartphones are designed to spy on us. That's their design.
They're designed.
Pardon?
They're designed to spy on us.
Of course they are, because how again do they make money? They have application interfaces that let them access your location, your contacts, who you're calling, what you're buying. Why? Because marketers pay a lot of money for that. Now, that's okay if in fact all you get from that is someone trying to sell you shoes. But when hackers use those same facilities, or the government, then we lose our privacy. We have people watching us because these operating systems are designed to find out as much about you as possible.
Did you watch the congressional hearing?
No, it would be nonsense. Mark Zuckerberg's got nothing to do with this. It's ourselves. We want everything and we expect everything. Well, the world doesn't work that way.
Interesting, different point of view you're taking it from.
I don't think it's a different. I think that most technologists would agree with me that, once you log on to the internet, your privacy is gone. So you have a choice. Keep your privacy or go, okay, well, I'm going to be very careful about what I input. People ask me for my phone number. I just don't give it to them. Certain information you do not get. And if I cannot get onto your site, then I'll go somewhere else.
So are you pretty active on all social media sites right now, or mainly just Twitter? Are you active on all social media sites, or mainly Twitter?
I have a Facebook account I'm not too active on. I have a YouTube channel. But mostly it's Twitter.
Mostly it's Twitter. Okay. So whatever Mark Zuckerberg said or doesn't, the information is going to be used, for whatever organization is going to contact you. So that's the consumer needs to know that if you're going to do it, If you don't want to do it, get off and don't share your stuff with people that they can't use against you.
Right. Don't get on social media sites, but they are valuable. So me, I don't expect privacy. I was not at all surprised that Facebook.
You don't expect privacy.
Of course I don't. I mean, if I want privacy, I have to take care of it. I have to be careful about what I input. I have to be careful about what media sites I'm on, what machine I'm using to access those sites. If you input your name and your address, your age, you better expect everybody in the world to have access to that. Whatever you put down on any media site, you must expect the entire world to see that. So I'm very careful what I put down. Do I care if the world knows this? No. If I do care, then I don't go on.
So let me ask you, when you were running McAfee for that, from 87 to 94 until you resigned, that 7-year period, was there ever times when somebody really tried to break into a computer system of somebody's and you got alerted where you were so concerned where you said, I got to pick up the phone and call the NSA or FBI? Did that ever happen?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So that was a norm for you.
Well, of course. I mean, that was when viruses were first coming out, and they were destroying people's systems. You know, destroying all of your data, doing terrible things. So of course, when you got into corporations, corporations were losing millions of dollars. So of course they called the FBI.
Got it. If you don't mind us going back, who were you in high school? I'm just really curious. If I went to high school with you in 10th grade, junior year, who was John McAfee in high school?
Oh, I don't know. I was a crazy character. I got almost straight A's. I studied hard and did not go out for sports. That was it. I was a nerd.
Truly, you were a nerd. So you were not partying. You didn't have the girlfriend. You weren't playing the sports.
I had girlfriends. Yeah, I mean, nerds had girlfriends back then. You know, if you were smart.
Got it. So after high school, you know, when I study some of the things that you pursued, you were, I think you worked Xerox, Lockheed, and you were NASA, right? Prior to starting McAfee. So at what point you said, you know, I just think I want to start this antivirus software. What inspired you to want to start McAfee?
Well, that was sort of an accident. You know, I was living with my brother-in-law in Santa Clara, California, and he was reading the local newspaper about this thing called, brand new thing, computer virus. And he was reading it out loud. I said, give me that paper. So I read the article and I thought, good Lord, what is this thing? I mean, a virus. It could replicate itself, move from one machine to another. Well, that was fascinating. So I sat and I thought about it. How on earth could someone do this? And then it occurred to me how they did it. And at the same time, it occurred to me how I could stop it. So I just wrote a little program. And I ran a bulletin board system. Bulletin boards were the precursor to the internet. You know, I had 16 phone lines coming into my house. I mean, I only have 16 simultaneous users, but people would download software from one bulletin board, upload it to another, and in a matter of days, millions of people could access things. So I wrote a little program, and 2 weeks later, 5 million people were using it.
2 weeks later?
2 weeks later.
1987, 2 weeks later, 5 million people were using it.
Yes.
You saw that kind of growth in 2 weeks?
Yes.
That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
Well, I was the only one that had a program for it.
At that time?
At that time.
And so immediately everybody said, I need to have something like this to protect myself.
Everybody, right.
Got it.
And I thought that was the end of it. And then 2 weeks later, another virus occurred called the Jerusalem virus. And then they just started coming hot and heavy, and I had to keep updated with all these viruses. So pretty soon everybody was using the McAfee virus scan.
Unbelievable how this whole thing gets started. Mm-hmm. So
an accident.
Purely accidental.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect anything to happen. I thought, well, here, if anybody's worried, run this program.
When you were going at that time, were you connected with the Jobs and the Gates? Was there a relationship there or not at all?
No,
you were completely...
Not at that time.
Not at that time. Got it. And didn't Intel end up buying McAfee in 2011 for some $7.7 billion, I think $48 a share, some number like that. And now, today, you can't get on a computer without seeing McAfee somewhere. That's your last name. That's your name. That's all over the place. And so today, you know, you hear and you read up on it. How do you feel about the product now since you've been away from it since 1994? What do you think about the product now 24 years later?
Well, antivirus software no longer works. That paradigm that I invented does not work in the modern world of the internet and hackers and social engineering. New hacking techniques have obviated virus scanning software. It's non-functional, yet everybody continues to buy it because that's all that they know. But the paradigm is past. And I was the first to say it. You know, 5 years ago, I went public and said, virus scan software is useless. It cannot protect us from modern threats.
It cannot protect us from modern. So how do we protect ourselves today?
Well, that's not the question. I mean, most hacking is social engineering, which is problematic. Meaning, it's using people rather than hacking into a system and trying to find passwords. You start calling secretaries or people in the company, and you have a story, and they suddenly give you the information rather than you having to hack into it yourself. This is 99% of all hacks today.
99% of all the hacks today. Got it. So meaning that no matter what I do, if somebody really wants to infiltrate my system and get the information they want out of me, there's really not much I can do about it.
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Didn't you say you designed a phone that's meaning hack-proof? Nobody can hack the phone?
That's correct.
Is that phone out for people to buy it or not yet? Are you planning on going?
Actually, well, it was being done through MGT. I resigned from MGT a couple of months ago because I was bored. It was, I moved totally into cryptocurrency. But yeah, the phone it's pretty much hack-proof. It's called the Cloak phone, and it should be coming out in 6 months.
So somebody could buy it 6 months from now, say. Yeah. So
they said it will not be my phone anymore. It will belong to MGT.
So there was a book written in the 80s called "Only the Paranoid Survive." Do you remember that book?
I don't.
It was actually written by the founder of Intel. Only the Paranoid Survive. Do you think in a world like this it benefits, maybe not even benefits, it behooves people to be a little bit more paranoid than they usually are?
I think paranoia serves its purpose. I mean, it's paranoia makes you more aware of threats. It makes you pay attention. I wouldn't say people should be paranoid. People should be cautious. People should be aware. You need to be aware of the threats. You need to be aware that when you log on to the internet, your expectation of privacy is absurd. You're logged on to a system where there are 2 billion computers attached. A billion people who are interfacing and communicating and watching. A million hackers trying to steal money from you or information or to find something that they can blackmail you with. This is the world that you enter when you log on to the internet. And if you enter that world thinking, I'm perfectly safe, the world will take care of me, well, who the hell is going to take care of you? I mean, it's Zuckerberg can't, Facebook can't, Twitter can't, Google can't. I mean, Twitter, if you go onto Twitter, there are probably 200 John McAfees, all with my picture and everything else. They're all fake. And this is in the news a couple of weeks ago. Twitter has tried to stop this and cannot. Too many people are doing it. They stop one thing and they come through another avenue. They come in with a different ID, but the same photos.
How do you feel about it?
Well,
no feelings, no emotions, or it's just you either accept it or it is what it is?
It is what it is. It cannot be fixed. You just live with it.
So you think we're going in the direction of living a naked life, which means, I can, nowadays I can go online within a 5-minute period. I can find out if you're a Democrat, Republican, what sports team you like, married kids, how many kids, age, issues, frustrations. You can pretty much find out if somebody goes on there and spends 5 minutes. Do you think we're going in the direction where we are accepting our privacy being taken away from us?
I expect mine to be taken away. I expect everything that I put into the internet to be taken away. If you put it on the internet, someone's going to get it. It's a fact of life. There's no way to prevent it. So what you put into it, you better expect the world to know. So I don't know, I use disinformation. For example, I bought a house, a new place in a foreign country, and I said it was in Dominica. Put photographs in. Well, no, I've never been to Dominica, and I do not have a house there. However, those people who are trying to find me or looking for me, I mean, you have to figure it out yourself. Protect yourself by any means possible. Disinformation, no information, limited information. But whatever you put into the internet, it's gone, man. People are going to be looking at it and reading it and watching you.
John, when you were running McAfee, because this becomes one of my concerns. You know how they say whenever you have a computer and you got the camera on the Apple computer covered up and put a tape on it yourself so they can't see you because they're watching you, all these other conspiracies that you have to be looking out for. When you went from 0 to 5 million customers have an interest on the product you're marketing within 2 weeks, did at that time a government agency reach out to you when they wanted to get information on other people? Did they contact you?